What's that? The heads of the FIA have shunted through a controversial ruling without consulting the GPDA, shareholders, or even staff within their own organization? Well, color me shocked. That's right, the FIA are in the news yet again, and their most recent move seems to have been tailor-made to rub the drivers up the wrong way. The question is, do the drivers dare to clap back, or will the governing body be left unchecked in their pursuit to make themselves untouchable? Want to know what the FIA have done this time? It's clangor after clangor, but do they actually have a point, as one racing legend seems to believe? And stick around, because the sad thing is, this rash decision will cast a dark cloud over some actual strides made by members of the FIA to improve the sport. The FIA have been in the news once again recently, having forced through a ruling to bring greater penalization on drivers who dare to express themselves. According to sources within the governing body, the decision to impose greater fines, suspensions, and even deductions of points was pushed through via a snap e-vote with no consultation with the other stakeholders or the GPDA or the FIA's own Drivers' Commission, as reported by Andrew Benson of the BBC. In yet another tyrannical move by Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the CEO of the FIA has been looking to make himself and the governing body uncriticisable, having received a large amount of backlash from some of the most high-profile drivers in motorsport recently, from Verstappen to Ogier. While the way that the ruling came into life is certainly reprehensible, if the reports are true, according to Martin Brundle, they're not without their merits. The gridwalk legend claims that some of the actions of the drivers in recent years, with a particular shot at Max Verstappen, has gone too far in how they address race officials, with the ex-driver turned pundit saying, "I think we're role models. F1 drivers are role models. You don't need to riotously swear in a press conference. In the heat of the moment, in the car, full of adrenaline, full of despair, happiness, whatever, I get it completely, but I don't personally. It doesn't feel right to me." What I love about rugby is how they respect the referee, and I think Formula 1 should be the same. You're role models for all of the drivers coming through. If you're dirty on track, cheating the track limits, or calling the FIA stewards stupid idiots, to give you one example, or being unreasonable like that, I think there are degrees to this, and how heavy-handed you want to be is a whole new story. But I don't mind there being some rules of our F1 drivers who are great kids being role models. I am calm with that. While clearly Brundle does have a point that F1 drivers are highly influential and serve as role models, I do think there has to be a careful middle ground struck here. The rugby comparison is rendered somewhat moot when you consider it's only the referee that's mic'd up, whereas the opposite is true for the 20 F1 drivers. We're sure that rugby players can be as foul as they come to their competitors and aren't exactly going to say, "Oh bother," as they're dragged down by a man the size of a Kia Picanto. The on-track fury is part of the allure, as is the gentlemanly image off track, so the middle ground should be struck where the drivers can be expressive during the times of toil on track, but are expected to uphold professionalism in the media pen. We don't want the sport being sterilized any further, and the drivers should be able to question the ruling of the stewards. However, it should be done so in a professional manner. Calling another driver a moron via some fruity language though, that's just fair game. What is also interesting is the potential fines extend to anyone with an FIA license, including team principals, so it would appear that nobody is safe to criticize the governing body. So hey, watch out Toto and Christian. While it's easy to see the FIA as a tyrannical and omnipotent power over European motorsport who views themselves above all criticism, which a lot of the time they are, it would appear that they have listened to some of the requests of the GPDA's open letter, and arguably, the most important and least emotionally oriented ones have been addressed in recent announcements. For one, Nicholas Tombazis has recently been speaking out about where driver fines actually go, something that was of prime concern in the GPDA's letter. According to Tombazis, the money goes straight to where it can make the largest impact, and isn't even enough to scratch the surface of the FIA costs. The FIA is not a profit-making organization. We don't have shareholders who are looking at some numbers in the stock exchange and hoping for a share price to go up or get more dividends or anything like that. So all the money is spent on what is considered to be beneficial aspects, whether it's for safety, for grassroots in motorsport, or sometimes other projects which are to do with road safety. The amount of money spent in grassroots vastly exceeds the fines accumulated, which I think indicates that anything that goes in there will have a positive impact. What I can say with absolute certainty is that the fines of the drivers in one sport don't subsidize another sport or another category or something like that. But if you look at other initiatives, whether it's our campaigns, like the one about online abuse, and all the grassroots venues we've been talking about before, or safety projects, I believe are noble ways of spending such money, and this money does contribute to that. I think we can all agree that grassroots support is the best possible use of driver fines, and while it's all well and good saying that it's the most in need of support, actually receiving the support, the best possible thing that the FIA can do moving forward is to provide a paper trail demonstrating that this is actually the case. Regardless of the origins of the money, whether it be through driver fines or otherwise, financial transparency is something that has been a long time coming and can benefit not only European motorsport in general, but shield the FIA from any accusations of financial corruption. If there is nothing to hide, then surely financial transparency from the governing body is in the best interest of the sport, as stated by the GPDA's letter. After all, it would be incredibly easy for the FIA to deliver lip service in order to just shut up the plebs, so hopefully we hear more financial transparency moving forward to ensure that they are doing as they claim. Something that will have a far more direct impact on Formula 1 than how they handle their money is the proposed implementation of a brand new officials department. Following a season with a fair few controversial decisions from race stewards, the FIA have started to move forward with their plans for making a more professional approach to governing the races. The goal of the department will be more streamlined, consistent and rigorous training for officials across all FIA-sanctioned events, including F1, WEC and WRC. Considering the utter bedlam at the FIA late last year, where the race director was replaced a mere 3 rounds before the end of the season, followed by the replacement being sacked before they had even overseen a race, and the continued baffling man management blunders that have been seen within the governing body, the fact that they are now striving for consistency within their trackside presence should be greeted with open arms. Anything that can be done to avoid repeats of the Tim Mayer situation is a good thing, and anything that can stop Mohammed Ben Sulayem from firing any more trackside officials is equally welcome. According to Nicholas Tambazi, the sport has for too long relied on eager volunteers without clear direction, and the aim is to now streamline the stewarding process by providing consistent members who can oversee race day operations. It's probably getting a bit unfair to just rely on people to do it out the good of their heart, and that's what we have now. We want to go to a more professional body in the future. That's not to exclude volunteers, but it's to have a body that can spend the Monday morning after a race analyzing every single decision, making sure that it was reached correctly, seeing what could be improved, etc. That will be combined with a more powerful remote center, where more monitoring will take place for a range of offenses, and all of that will be linked together. That's the general target. Ultimately, the officials department will bring up a wider pool of people available to do it, and will provide that they will have more time to spend on analyzing everything and so on. Just to be clear, that's without taking anything away from the group we have now, which is very experienced and has been serving for 20 years. So a body that won't promise perfection from the start, but accountability and a renewed ability to learn from its mistakes is what's currently being enacted by the FIA. If they can manage to keep hold of a consistent race director alongside this, then we may actually see F1 races being run in an incontroversial fashion for the first time since Charlie Whiting left the sport. Rui Marquez having a clean 2025 will be the best possible outcome while this new professional stewarding body beds itself in. One thing is for sure, anything the FIA can do to keep themselves out of the headlines will be for the benefit of the sport, seeing as the only reason they're ever brought up is for negative reasons. While the negative headlines have certainly been deserved in recent years, any efforts by the FIA to smoothen out race day processes and provide financial transparency will certainly remedy any bad reputation that the governing body has earned over the recent years. But then again, for as long as Mohammed Ben Sulayem keeps pushing through stuff that suits him, you never know. But what do you think? Will these changes by the FIA actually make a difference for better or for worse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.